Oh, hello everybody, this is Tim W. Leathertachi 1996 here, and welcome to the next episode of Season 4 of Godzilla FX here. Now, last week, we saw Godzilla burn Mechagodzilla City to the ground, destroying any trace of Mechagodzilla in existence. Now, this week, Godzilla takes on his other most famous foe in Godzilla the Planet Eater, from 2018. Now, I remember when there was this poster and a teaser trailer came out. Sorry. And I remember when the title came up at the end of the trailer, it did this. The roar that was playing was not Godzilla's like it did in the first two trailers. Like it did in the trailers for Monster Planet and City on the Edge of Battle. And instead this loud kind of screeching noise. And when you look at this poster, you see these three golden spiked things coming down from the top. And surprise, surprise, it's Ghidorah. Yes, King Ghidorah shows up once again in the Godzilla franchise. And actually, surprisingly, so does Mothra, actually. So it's like in Planet of the Monsters, at the very beginning of the movie, it showed a bunch of other monsters from the Godzilla franchise, the Mothra trilogy, and one of their old science fiction films from back in the 1960s. But it's like, but they never mention them after that point in the movie. They never mention them, and then the whole rest of the anime Godzilla universe is basically just they're really more famous monsters, like City on the Edge of Battle. We had Mechagodzilla. Now in this movie, this is the last film in the anime trilogy. Now in this third and final entry here, we have King Ghidorah and Mothra, but she shows up at like the very end of the movie in like a not a dream scene, but in like a more how do I put it? It's not really a dream. It's more like a vision scene or something like that. It's religious visions or something like that. I have no clue. But yeah, Mothra, and she only makes like that one appearance in the entire movie, which is like they could have. But you hear her though. You hear her clearly, and then she just shows up in that one scene, and it just sucks that she didn't show up at the end to help Godzilla wave off Ghidorah here. And speaking of Ghidorah, now I love like how in the screenshot before. Oh, actually, before I actually get into talking about the movie here, finally these pictures are in sequence. Yeah, I know they are in chronological sequence. The first two were out of sequence, and I apologize for that. But for this one, I went back and I rewatched not the whole movie, just until the point where Ghidorah shows up, and I matched and I paused it to match each screenshot. So yeah, throughout from like 30 minutes into the last hour of the movie, I went back and rewatched it so I can put all of these pictures in chronological order this time. So yay! And also we come to another Godzilla movie here that does not have any effects cons. Sorry, and I would say that Godzilla shooting his atomic breath would be an effects con, because in City on the Edge of Battle, remember, we saw it come out of his nose instead of his mouth, which I still find just weird. Like, why would his atomic breath be coming out of his nose and not his mouth? That's just really weird. But in this movie, you can't tell if he's shooting it out of his mouth or not. It looks like his atomic breath is coming out of his mouth, but every time he does it, the scene goes really blurry, like the ground keeps shaking, so and it gets blurry, so you can't really tell if it's coming out of his mouth or his nose. So I can't really call EffectCon on that because they don't really show it clearly. Now on to the rest of the movie. Now here we go with Ghidorah, and I love Ghidorah's origin in this movie. I love how they took the original 1960s route in saying that Ghidorah is an alien. Ghidorah is an alien creature that he comes from outer space or whatever. But this movie just takes that little idea and blows it out of proportion. I mean, it makes Ghidorah this. I would compare this thing to something H.P. Lovecraft would have come up with, because literally, I mean, I can see so many Lovecraftian type references. I doubt that the creators of that Toho really was thinking about that while they were creating this new origin for Ghidorah. But that's just how I see it. This is just me personally. Let me know in the comments, any Godzilla fan. Yes, Godzilla fans and anime fans, like I said about the last two films, will definitely get a good kick out of this movie. It's really sad. It's a very sad Godzilla movie, and I just think anime fans and Godzilla fans would get a real kick out of this one. It's a really good movie, and once again, this movie is getting a 9. Actually, no, this movie is getting a 7 out of 10 for me, and I'll explain why in a little bit. But I kind of compare Ghidorah here, like I was saying. I compare it to this. It almost feels very Lovecraftian to me, because a lot of the monsters from the Cthulhu mythos are generally beings from different. They're from outer space, but they come from different like dimensions, like the monster named Azathoth. It's like a creature that comes from, in our human terms it would be considered, yes, it's an alien, but it's from a different dimension, and it's cosmic horror from different dimensions or whatever. And Ghidorah is very much like that, because one of the two alien races that are throughout this story, or this 3-part story, are the Exif, and the Exif are these priests, like these aliens that resemble humans, but they're very heavy religious. And they said that, and literally one of the two main Exif characters, Metphis, literally admits that Ghidorah was the monster that destroyed the Exif. Sorry, I almost forgot the name. The Exif homeworld, but they worship this thing like it's Jesus. I mean, literally, they worship it. I don't mean disrespect to the good man upstairs. I really don't. But it's like they call it God. Like, throughout the movie, this movie just gets so heavy on religion. And the Exif worship Ghidorah like he's a god. And it's just so, and again, that's why this so reminds me of Lovecraft, because there were, in one story with Cthulhu, Cthulhu is a alien monster, but he was worshipped. He was worshipped as a god. So that's why Ghidorah he feels so Lovecraftian to me. And it's just so funny, like in the screenshot of him when he was in silhouette against a yellow background, like a bunch of screenshots before this. He had a body, and there is actual concept art where he has a body with legs, wings, and 2 tails. Now, in all honesty, it would have been better. It would have felt more classic if they had Ghidorah come down like that to fight Godzilla. But instead, we get these 3 giant spiked boa constrictors, basically, that come down from these 3 portals that open up and start destroying. Humanity up in space here just gets wiped out by Ghidorah. One of the heads or one of the parts of Ghidorah, flies around the ship here and just blows it up, killing literally everybody on it. But when the ship blows up, it wakes up Big Guy here, and that's when he starts noticing something's wrong or something's up, and then Ghidorah comes down and starts attacking him. But when I said that this movie is getting a 7 out of 10, I will, like I said, I'll tell you why here in a little bit when I get to the screenshots of Godzilla and Ghidorah's fight. And I used air quotes when I said fight because it's not really a fight. But I'll explain that, like I said. Again, I will explain that when I get to those group of screenshots. Now, as much as I do love Ghidorah, I love his origin, that they went back to the 1960s origin of him being an alien, but they went a little more far out there and kind of added a little more to that. Now let's talk about Godzilla. Now Godzilla, Earth, 1,000 feet tall, same Godzilla from the last two films. Well, the end of Planet of the Monsters and then City on the Edge of Battle, but still. You know what's one thing? I gotta talk about the sound effects, because the sound effects really add to the special effects in all of these films, in the entire Godzilla franchise as a whole. One thing I do love about Godzilla in this movie is his roars. He makes a lot of different roars in this one, and they have the 2003 roar, and also the growling from 2002. But on top of that, they have sounds for him that sound like from the Heisei era in the 90s. One thing I really love is that they took the roar of him from 1974, and they made it deeper and they slowed it down to where it sounds like the 90s. So it's like, show it your roar that sounds 90s. I love that they did that. It sounds really cool when you hear it. And here we go. This is after Ghidorah destroys the ship that all the rest of the humans and the Bilisaludo and the Exif were on. You know, I love that. I don't know why, just Ghidorah. It's just so weird that it's like I compare Ghidorah to Mechagodzilla, because it's like, what was the point of doing that concept art for him in the first place if you're not going to show the monster like that, you know? It's just like, okay, I don't know why. Like, what was the point of the concept art in the first place, you know? So yeah, but it's just so crazy though that the whole 3 golden snakes come down and attack Godzilla here. And here we go. Here's another great shot of Godzilla where he makes a 90s roar. And once again, really great detail on him. I love the detail on his skin. It's very, like, super, super well. Oh my god. Excuse me, everybody. I really did not mean to do that. Anyways, I really love his skin detail. It looks super cool. You know, I don't know, just everything about this movie is really good, is super awesome. And what I do love though, and I actually just now noticed this as I was watching it. And one thing I really, really do love. Oh, and also I watched all of the anime trilogy here, all 3 films. I don't know if I mentioned it in City on the Edge of Battle and Planet of the Monsters, but Akio Yuichi watched all 3 of these movies with me. Why? Because she likes anime and I love Godzilla. So perfect blend for both of us. Anyways, big shout out to her. You saw her in that Goof Off video. You know, you saw her in that. So yeah, from a long time ago. Anyway, from a while back. Anyways, what the heck was I saying? Oh yeah, like I was saying, I love everything about this movie is cool except Godzilla and Ghidorah. Except Godzilla and Ghidorah's fight. Yeah, the fight that Godzilla has with him, with it. because since he's an interdimensional creature, it's not really a fight, really. I mean, it's kind of a fight. Like right here, Godzilla. It's like one thing I do have to say about Godzilla is that he is really in the anime trilogy. Godzilla is like really overpowered. I mean, he's really OP. You have Godzilla Phileas in Planet of the Monsters that got blown up. But then you have, and then Godzilla Earth showed up at the end of that movie. But it's like in Planet of the Monsters, it was the humans who had tried to defeat Godzilla. But there's two of them in that movie, and one of them did get defeated. So yeah. And then it was the humans fighting against Godzilla, and then in City on Edge Battle, it was the alien race the Bilosaludo who built Mechagodzilla, who tried to defeat Godzilla with the nanometal, and now you have the Exif who summoned Ghidorah to defeat Godzilla. So it's like this proves that nothing can kill this lizard. Like seriously, nothing can kill this guy. Because there were three attempts, all three attempts in this anime trilogy, and they all failed miserably. Godzilla just beats all. So yeah, so nothing can kill this guy. Like Godzilla is really overpowered, but Ghidorah's really overpowered. He's actually really overpowered too because what do you call it? Hold on a sec. I'm just, Akio Yuichi's, texting me. So, hold on a sec, folks. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, Ghidorah is actually really overpowered, too, because Godzilla tries to hurt him. He tries to hit him a couple of times, and his hands just go right through Ghidorah, and he tries to use his tail, and that just goes through him, and then his atomic breath goes straight through him. So it's like really, it's kind of not fair. It's kind of not really a fair fight. I don't know. It just doesn't really seem like a fair fight because it's like, really, Ghidorah can bite Godzilla and touch him, but Godzilla can't touch Ghidorah. Like, that's kind of not a fair fight, really. But looking at a close-up of Ghidorah's face, oh my god, I am so sorry, folks. Throughout the course of Godzilla effects here, all 4 seasons here, I've been burping a lot, and I really do apologize for that, truly. Like I said, I think last week in Sitting on the Edge of Battle, yeah, I did. I challenge anybody to count how many times, I dare everybody to binge watch Godzilla FX and count how many times I burp throughout this, because I am really sorry about that. I really want to see how many times I belched throughout this series. Anyways, one thing. Everything about Ghidorah here, from his design, like I said, I love his design. I just wish that they would have stuck with the classic 3 heads, body, wings, 2 legs, 2 tails. I wish they would have just stuck with that, but, it's cool that we get to see Ghidorah in a new light, in a new fresh design. I do like how he is. I love him as he is in this movie. And, see, here we go. See, this is what I mean. Like, Ghidorah can bite Godzilla, and Godzilla can't even lay a claw on him. Well, he tries to lay a claw on him, but his hand just goes straight through him. So it's like Godzilla's fighting a ghost. It's like Godzilla's fighting a giant, fighting an apparition. Anyway. Sorry about that, my throat's a little dry. Sorry about that, everybody. My throat's a little dry. Where was I going with that? No, where was I going? Oh, okay. Yeah, I know I mentioned Godzilla's sound effects, but I also gotta mention Ghidorah's. Ghidorah's roar, his sound effect is like this high-pitched kind of roar, a little bit, but
Also, his 1960 sound effects are actually in this movie. Like his original roar is in it, and when he comes flying towards the people in the silhouette shots, with his classic look and silhouette, the noise that he would make when he flies, you can clearly hear it. So it's like they knew, I guess Toho knew, like with Ghidorah, since they're going back to the original Alien origin, they put the original sound effects in there, which is really cool. I love that they did that, because it's a nice little Easter egg, you know. Well, it's cool. And once again, in this screenshot, you have the Servum. The Servum, okay, the Servum in this movie are not really a problem, like they were in the first two chapters of the anime trilogy here. They weren't really a problem. In this movie, they just fly around. They just fly around Godzilla and Ghidorah here, and they're not even a bother. They're like the equivalent of birds to these two, and they just fly away. Like, they're not really much of a problem. They're not as prominent as they were in Monster Planet and City on the Edge of Battle. And, I don't know, it's just, looking at the shots of Ghidorah biting Godzilla, like, that's all Ghidorah does. Like, this is why actually, you know what, I'll wait till the next screenshot comes up for me to say that. But it's just so crazy that Godzilla and Godzilla doesn't do one of his abilities. He doesn't do the oscillatory wave in this movie, which I'm shocked. When he shoots something, it's always his atomic breath. So yeah, that's just weird that he doesn't do that. One thing I do love about Ghidorah though is that he flashes, because they call Ghidorah the Golden Wings of Demise, and the X-If call him the Golden Wings of Demise, or simply the Golden Demise. And in all honesty, when you look at this screenshot here, he's just the Golden Demise. So, and one of the Hotua, well, one of the Mothra twins, actually, one of the Shobiji, calls Ghidorah the King of the Void. And I really like that they call him that, because outer space is really just a void. It's just this partial empty void where anything can go in many different directions, like forever. So I guess Ghidorah, he rules outer space while Godzilla rules Earth. So it's like King of the Void versus King of the Earth, you know? And this is why, right here, this is the screenshot I wanted to get to. This is why I give this movie a 7 out of 10, because the fight, I don't know, it's not really... Oh, and this is Metphies. Yeah, I know I rarely ever talk about characters, other than the effects. But yeah, the special effects in this movie, I haven't... Well, actually, before I get to the other effects, let me finish talking about the monsters. Godzilla and Ghidorah's fight, it's mainly just Ghidorah, like, trying to erase Godzilla from existence, because all three heads bite onto Godzilla, and then they almost like wrap around Godzilla for a while, and then they lift Godzilla up off the ground. Yeah, 1,000 feet gets lifted up off the ground, dead serious, and they try to make him fade from existence. Yeah, very. Like, look at this. This is literally all they do for about 90% of the fight. This is all it is. It's just shots of Ghidorah just trying to make Godzilla fade away with some unknown powers, you know. But it's alien stuff, and it's other dimensional whatever, so it's hard to figure out, and it's hard to make sense of Ghidorah in this movie, truly. But yeah, this here is why this movie gets a 7 out of 10, because the fight is just, yeah, like I said, just Ghidorah trying to make Godzilla fade from existence, and Godzilla can't hardly lay a hand on him. He tries to shoot at him, tries to punch him at first anyway. Um, but it doesn't even work. Like I said a little bit ago, Godzilla's like he's fighting a giant ghost. And what's so weird is that I love the actually before I talk about what the weird thing about Ghidorah, one other great thing, actually really great thing about Ghidorah, about his design is I love like the execution for him. It's a living breathing creature, but it's like it doesn't look like they said that one thing I wanted to talk about. The interesting part is it relates to the great part is Ghidorah. The laws of our world don't work with him. So him being an alien and him being almost kind of see through or almost ghost like. It's super interesting in his design. Really, he does look a little transparent. When you really look at him, Ghidorah looks very transparent. And they said then there's two of the characters explain that Ghidorah can't be picked up on at first. Ghidorah's not picked up on infrared or none of that. Like no scanners can detect anything about Ghidorah. Like I said, he's a ghost. Like I said, he's basically a giant ghost in this movie. And he's not dead or nothing, but that's just what he kind of can. That's what he just reminds. That's another thing he reminds me of. And that's really all I got to say about the monsters in this movie. Now on to the special effects. Now the special effects, like the explosions are good, really great explosions. Like for an anime, like I said with City on the Edge Battle and Planet of the Monsters, the special effects for an anime, especially a 3D CG anime, are really good. Or I mean, I've seen anime where it has had really awesome CGI. Hellsing Ultimate being one of them. And Attack on Titan being another one. And I want to also say Black Lagoon. I also want to say Black Lagoon, and those are my top 3 anime, in all honesty. Well, under the Godzilla trilogy here. Godzilla trilogy will always be my number 1 anime, and the other 3 anime are like my second, third, and fourth. But I'm not here to talk about them. I'm talking about the effects of this. Anyways, so anyway, yeah. Like I said, the special effects for an anime are really good. I love Toho when it comes to Godzilla movies. Always knows how when it comes to Godzilla, always knows how to pull off really great special effects work. In the early days, it was what they had, but then you had the 90s and it got better, and then in the Millennium era it got better. Well, now here in the new era of Godzilla, it's like the technology is always available to use. And see, here you go. This is where I was talking about. Look at Godzilla's feet. He's off the ground. He's literally floating in midair thanks to Ghidorah. And it's just so crazy. Like 1,000 feet tall, gets lifted off the ground. Like that's just insane. And yeah, like it's like I don't know. A lot of the fight is just this. It's just shots of Godzilla being held in place while he's fading away from existence. And one thing, though, that I really find interesting is a little bit ago, actually, in the screenshot before this, Godzilla was starting to go burning mode like he did in City on the Edge of Battle. But Ghidorah prevents that from happening, and he sucks out all the heat from Godzilla's body, and he starts making him cold. So Ghidorah is trying everything he can to make Godzilla fade away from existence, because he's being controlled by the character, the Exif priest, Mephis. He's Ghidorah's eyes, and he's trying to control. He was the one controlling Ghidorah to get rid of Godzilla. But that was the original plan, and he ended up saying that, having Earth destroyed will be a blessing, end this planet's suffering, from Godzilla. Just let the world go, Like, that was their actual worldview in this movie on Godzilla and his existence on Earth, and his existence and, all of Earth. So, yeah, it was really, it's simple and yet a little overkill. Anyways, yeah, so we see more of Ghidorah's awesome design, the transparency. I don't know, it's just he's so interesting in this movie. I don't know, it's like he reminds me, he's so Lovecraftian to me, and uh, also he's I don't know, and I love when Mephis gets killed. Actually, yeah, when Mephis gets murdered at the end of this fight, Ghidorah gets solid. After he starts getting solid because the laws of physics of Earth start applying to him, and he gets solid. And then Godzilla's actually able to lay a punch on him, and he knocks off one of them with his tail, makes one head fade from existence. Like every head dies. He starts knocking them off one by one, and then with one head he makes it fade away from existence. The other head, he rips the bottom jaw off. He rips off the bottom jaw. And then the third head, he shoots it back up into one of the portals and blows it up. So yeah, Godzilla pretty much vanquishes Ghidorah, and in a way kind of saved Earth from a threat. And here once again we have the shot of him. This is toward the daylight after his fight with King Ghidorah. And once again, we see a lot of great detailing on him. It's just everything about the trilogy as a whole, and especially this movie, a lot of great detail on Godzilla. It's super cool how much time and effort they put into his design, and I really enjoyed that, as well as also all of the special effects in this movie. Godzilla's design, Ghidorah's design, and Ghidorah's execution as an interdimensional creature, and also all the explosions that happen, and Godzilla's atomic breath. I don't know, it's just everything about this trilogy for an anime, for a 3D CG anime, was really good. I really enjoyed this. But yeah, because of how the fight went, Godzilla Planet Eater, it gets a 7 out of 10 for me, because the fight wasn't really a fight. It was a struggle. It was a life or death struggle for Godzilla, but it wasn't really a fight. Because of how slow Godzilla moves, it's like he knocks him here and shoots at him there. I don't know, it wasn't really like a major battle. It was just Godzilla struggling. Just a very noisy struggle. And I love, once again, here's his atomic breath, forming the shield before he shoots. And the ending to this was kind of sad, because it's like, sorry, there's a lot of pictures here. Let me just get back to the poster. Yeah, the ending, yes, and here's some spoilers for you. If watching all of Godzilla effects, there hasn't been enough spoilers. Yeah, with the ending to Planet Eater here is really sad, because it's like Godzilla shoots at Horo because Horo sacrifices himself, and then the vulture, the last remaining vulture, just crashes into Godzilla, and then it cuts to the end credits after a shot of some spring flowers. Yeah, it's a really sad ending for a Godzilla movie. Almost as sad as Godzilla vs. Destroyer. Anyways, Godzilla Planet Eater, I like it. The movie gets a 7 out of 10 for me, but like I said, the special effects for a 3D CG anime they're awesome. It's a good Godzilla movie. The entire anime trilogy was awesome as a whole. I really did enjoy these, and like I said, for recommendations, Godzilla fans and anime fans will get a huge kick out of this trilogy. So yeah, 7 out of 10. Really enjoyed it. I loved watching the anime trilogy on these in these 3 weeks here. So yeah, please hit me up a like. Please subscribe. You all hit that bell and hit all for future videos, and please subscribe to Megas Dragon for the awesome logo, and also he's with me and my boy Alan on the Movie Reviews Library. So yeah, this is Tim W. Leathertachi, 1996, and I am going to say peace out, everybody. And can't wait to do next week's Godzilla movie. And it's my #1 favorite out of my top 7. And I'll see you all next week.